Imagine Oak Island's Smith's Cove hiding a secret that was only rumored. And now, in the year 2025, the team has discovered something that could change history. A structure buried underwater, hidden in darkness for centuries. That makes it clear at first glance that this is no ordinary thing. The cameras hid more than they showed, and that's the biggest suspense. As they went deeper, old wooden beams, stone walls, and mysterious markings were revealed. Some say it's the treasure of an old secret order, while others believe it's straight-up evidence of a historical conspiracy. The excitement and fear in Rick and the team's eyes was clear, as if they knew what was going to be found next, but couldn't say. The History Channel also avoided giving an official statement on the discovery, and the live feed cut off midway. Why was there something there that shouldn't have been shown to the public? And the biggest question: if this is really what we have been looking for decades, then what will be the next step? This is not just a discovery. This is the turning point in the story of Oak Island, from where everything can change. To know what happened next, you will have to watch the whole video, because believe me, what you will see is much beyond your imagination. If you don't want to miss the next big secret of Oak Island, then subscribe now and turn on notifications. If you are hearing the name of Oak Island for the first time, then let me tell you, this place is not an ordinary sea island. For the last 200 years, it has been home to mysteries, treasures, and unsolved stories. This small piece of land in Nova Scotia, Canada, has been attracting adventurers from all over the world for centuries, especially Smith's Cove, which looks like just a quiet shore. But there is something hidden beneath it that generations have passed in search of. The story begins in 1795, when some young boys started digging a pit while playing here and found strange wooden platforms and stone structures below. Since then this place became a mystery. Every decade some team tried to find the treasure, but the whole truth never came out. It is said that the treasure of the Knights Templar may be hidden here, while some claim that it is the looted goods of Spanish pirates. Some people even believe that mysterious artifacts of an ancient civilization are buried here. Smith's Cove has always been special because excavations here have often revealed structures such as old wooden structures, coconut fibers which are not found naturally here, and drainage tunnels. All this proves that someone had deliberately prepared this place hundreds of years ago, and that too in a very clever way, so that the treasure remains hidden forever. Now, let's talk about 2025. Even before this year's season began, the discussions were intense. Leaked photos and rumors had spread on social media that this time the team had ordered high-tech equipment which had never been used before. And this was true. This time, Rick Lagina and Marty Lagina had decided to take the excavation to the next level. It started with large-scale planning. The team now had underwater drone cameras, sonar scanning systems, and new diving suits with which they could go to the deepest parts under the water. Marty even said, if we don't find anything big this year, then maybe we should assume that the real secret of Oak Island will never be revealed. Hearing this, Rick became a little quiet, but it was clear in his eyes. He is not one to give up. The mission was made clear in the team meeting. First, to scan that part of Smith's Cove where some stone-like walls were seen underwater in the last season. Then slowly remove the debris from there and reach inside the structure. This time a different team was also there. Professional underwater archaeologists who could take out any historical artifact without damaging it. The atmosphere of the first day was like a scene from a film. Cameras, heavy machines, and team members were standing all around, ready in full gear. Rick said in his special style, from today, we are going to reveal the oldest and biggest secret of Oak Island. Marty replied laughingly, and we hope that it leads us to treasure, not to any trouble. As the digging and diving began, the camera captured some strange shapes under the water. They did not look natural at all, as if someone had arranged the stones in a pattern. An awkward silence spread among the team because everyone knew this could be the place they have been working hard for years. The atmosphere had become so tense and exciting at the beginning of 2025 that the audience got an idea. Something big is going to happen in this season, and to be honest, if Smith's Cove reveals its secret this time, The history of Oak Island will change forever. Cold morning, light mist, and huge machines set up along the shore of Smith's Cove. The cameras were on, the crew was ready, and Rick Laginina was standing with his team at the W's edge, just waiting for the signal. It was the first day of the 2025 dig, and everyone knew whatever was found today would determine the course of the season. The diving team checked their gear, oxygen tanks, underwater cameras, and communication systems. The water was cold, but the excitement was much hotter. Rick simply said on the radio, "Let's see what Smith's Cove shows us." In the first few minutes, the visuals that started coming from underwater caught everyone's attention. When the camera light went into the deeper part, thick old wooden beams were visible there. These beams did not look like scattered debris. They were perfectly lined up, as if someone had arranged them with great thought. Large stones were placed between them, which looked like part of an old wall or floor. Rick's voice was clearly curious. "This is not natural. Someone has made this." Marty, who was watching the monitor on the shore, immediately said, "And if it has been made, then it must have been made to hide something here." As the divers moved forward, more parts became visible after removing the debris in the water. The lining of the stones looked like the foundation of an old structure. And this is where the first big suspense began. In one corner, a faint carving was visible on a big stone. Initially, it seemed that it was made by the effect of water and time. But as the camera came closer, it became clear that these patterns were made intentionally. Some shapes were round, some semicircular, and in the middle there was a cross-like marking. Rick immediately said, "Don't stop working on it. Clean it completely." As soon as the dirt was removed from the stone, the patterns became clearer. It did not look like a simple decoration, but looked like a symbol or code. The rest of the team who were watching live on the monitor began discussing among themselves. "It looks like the cross of the Knights Templar," someone said. "No, it looks like an old European masonry symbol." And then a voice came. "Could this be a sign of some ancient civilization?" History buffs know that some strange artifacts and designs have been found before on Oak Island and especially Smith's Cove, but such clean patterns had never been seen underwater before. This led to further speculation. Do these stones mark a secret entrance? Are they just decorations? Or do they identify the location of some big treasure? Marty's eyes sparkled, but there was also worry. If this is really part of some secret structure, then we will have to be very careful. Rick nodded and instructed the divers, "Scan the entire area around it, record every corner and do not move any stone." The work continued underwater, and as more stones were cleared, the pattern grew in size. Now it was clear. These were not random markings, but part of a larger design. Perhaps a map, perhaps a secret code, or perhaps a symbol of a sacred place. The crew standing on the shore was also abuzz. Strict controls were in place to ensure no photos or footage were leaked to social media. But the atmosphere inside the team was charged like electricity. Everyone knew this was just the beginning. And if these markings proved to be true, the 2025 Oak Island season could bring the biggest revelation yet. By the end of that first day, the team knew two things clearly. 1. Smith's Cove had finally started revealing its secrets, and 2. Whatever these stones and patterns were, they could change the story of Oak Island forever in the days to come. It was afternoon. The cameras had gone deep inside the water and the live telecast was going on TV. Viewers were watching with bated breath as the divers slowly approached a large rock structure. There was a slight mist in the water, but as soon as the light fell on it, the view below became clearer. Then, suddenly, the camera footage shook for a few seconds as if someone had shaken the camera. When the next shot came, the divers had frozen in one place and their lights were fixed on a particular part. Something flashed faintly on the screen. It was not known whether it was metal, gold, or something else. And just at that moment, the live feed cut out. The TV screen went black. Then only the logo of History Channel and the message technical difficulties. Viewers sitting at home could not understand what happened. The commentator of the show was also silent, as if he too did not know anything. The expressions on Rick and Marty's faces also seemed to change in the last few frames. Rick's eyes widened. Marty's lips were pursed, as if both had seen something they didn't want to share with anyone. Within minutes of the live cut, a storm erupted on social media. #Oak Island, #Smith's Cove, and #live feed cut started trending on Twitter. People started sharing screenshots of the last few seconds. Some showing a faint glow, some showing a faint shadow behind the divers. Facebook groups were flooded with theories. Someone said, "This must have been a chest of gold that got caught on camera." Someone else claimed, "No, this was some old artifact, probably belonging to the Templar Knights." Some people went even further. This glow was of some alien technology which had been buried underwater for centuries. Many channels on YouTube also immediately uploaded videos with the title, "The Truth Behind the Live Feed Cut." Someone showed the footage in slow motion and said that it was not a human hand, but some strange mechanical claw-like thing that was moving in it. Some said that the shadow in the last frame was not of a human, but of some other figure. History lovers were also not behind. They compared it with old maps and documents and tried to say that this place is directly related to the mythical treasure of Oak Island, which has been mentioned for hundreds of years. Media channels also took advantage of the opportunity. News started running with headlines like "Oak Island mystery deepens" and "What did they see underwater?" But the most appeasing thing was that History Channel did not give any official statement about this cut. They just said there was a technical problem. Further footage will be shown in the next episode. But people on the internet believed that this was not just a technical problem. Someone said, "If this was really just a glitch, then why did they not immediately run the backup feed?" Someone else wrote, "Clearly, they saw something they don't want the public to see." In less than a week, the incident turned into Oak Island's biggest modern-day suspense. People were more desperate than ever to know what exactly was found underwater that day, and why there was such a rush to cover up what was found. Whatever the truth, one thing was for sure. The live feed being cut off added another layer to the Oak Island story, and this layer was filled with suspense, rumors, and speculation that made viewers wait even longer than before for the next episode. After the live feed cut out, the next day, the team decided to do a close-up investigation of the structure. The water was cold and murky, but the divers descended fully prepared. Their helmet cameras were on and Rick, Marty, and the rest of the team were standing on the shore watching everything on the monitor. As the divers got closer to the structure, a narrow space was visible between the rocks. There was a slight glow there, which became more visible as the underwater light fell on it. The camera showed that a metal-like object was stuck behind the rocks. Its shape was not completely random. Designs were clearly visible on the corners and raised patterns in the middle. Rick said on the radio, "Go a little closer. Look carefully." The divers slowly started removing the debris from there. As the water cleared, the shape became more clear. It looked like an old chest or a sealed door. Thick metal strips on the edges and a round lock-like mark in the middle. There was silence among the team. Marty said in a low voice, "If this is really a chest, then this could be what we were looking for." But Rick immediately interrupted, "Don't confirm anything yet. We have to document it thoroughly first." The divers recorded a video of the entire area around the structure, but they avoided touching or moving it. Perhaps they knew that such an old and fragile object could break with a little carelessness, or a trap could be activated. But the real twist came when the atmosphere at the site suddenly changed. On the third day of the excavation, early in the morning, some vehicles stopped at the shore. Out of them came people in uniform, some from a government agency and some like private security. As soon as they arrived, they put yellow tape around the area and pushed the rest of the crew aside. Rick and Marty went to talk to them, but by the look on their face, it was clear that the matter was serious. The angle of the cameras was suddenly changed, and whatever recording was going on was immediately stopped. A few hours later, some team members were taken aside for a private meeting. No one said anything outside, but their faces indicated that they had been ordered to not speak. Backstage, rumors began to spread. Some were saying that the government had taken control because the discovery could violate a historical treaty or law. Some others were saying that the object was so valuable that its information would now be limited to only a select few. Even the History Channel production team was asked to delete some footage. People on social media noticed that some clips which were in the first promo had now disappeared. This sudden secrecy made the story even more mysterious. People were now not only curious to know what was under the water, but were also wondering what was found that the government had to intervene. And perhaps this is the real identity of Oak Island. The more truth comes out, the bigger and deeper secret is hidden behind it. Despite government interference, Rick and Marty's team did not give up. On one hand, the underwater excavation was slowed down, while on the other hand, the research members of the team started digging in the archives and old records. After spending hours in a library and museum in Nova Scotia, they found some documents and maps that caught everyone's attention. On these old maps, the area near Smith's Cove was drawn in great detail, but the most surprising thing was some parts were marked in red ink on which strange code-like marks were made. The pattern of these marks was the same as found on the rocks under the water. Not only maps, some documents had mention of the 1700s in which a secret mission was mentioned. The language was old and difficult, but when translated, it was written, "The thing that can change everyone is now safe where no one can easily reach." This further deepened the team's suspicion that perhaps this mission was undertaken to hide some treasure or important artifact. Marty said, "If this is true, then we are not just searching for treasure, but a whole historical story." Rick replied with a smile. "And perhaps this is why people want to keep it hidden even today." But as these clues were being found, strange events also started happening at the site. One morning during the excavation, the hydraulic system of the heavy digging machine suddenly failed. When the technician checked, he found that a small part was broken, even though it was new and fitted properly. On the same day, the divers' communication system started shutting down intermittently, as if someone had jammed the signal. After this, one night the security guard posted at the site told that he saw someone standing at the edge of the water. But when he turned on the torch, there was no one there. The next morning, strange marks were found on the sand, which did not look like human feet. Fear gradually began to spread in the team. Some said, "This is the famous curse of Oak Island. Whenever someone gets close to the truth, something bad definitely happens." According to old stories, 7 people are sure to die before the treasure is found. And so far, 6 people have been killed. This thing increased the tension in the atmosphere. Rick kept trying to ignore these things, considering them to be superstitions. But the truth was that accidents were happening continuously, sometimes debris falling, sometimes the pump machine suddenly stopping, sometimes strange sounds being heard at the site. Marty clearly said in a meeting, "We have to decide whether all these are just technical problems or something else." Rick just said, "Whatever it is, we will not back down now." And with this stubbornness, the team decided that whether there are accidents or fear, now this search will continue till the last breath, because perhaps the truth which has been buried for centuries is now going to come out. After many days of hard work and hundreds of hours of diving, the moment that both the team and the audience were waiting for finally arrived. While removing rocks and debris underwater, the divers entered the structure through a narrow path. As soon as the camera light fell on that place, everyone's eyes widened on the monitor. It was an old chamber, completely sealed, whose walls were made of big stones. A heavy metal box was kept in the middle of it. Shells and sea moss were deposited on it in thick layers, but still the shine of its metal was clearly visible as soon as the light fell on it. Strange designs were engraved on the box, some like crosses, some round patterns and a big lock in the middle. It seemed as if it had never been opened. Rick could not stop himself while looking at the monitor and softly said, "Oh, God, this could be him." At that moment, no one in the team said anything. Marty also just kept his eyes fixed on the screen. Everyone felt like they were standing right in front of one of the biggest revelations in history. But at the same time, there was fear. If this was indeed the treasure, it would not be easy to take it out. The divers recorded footage of the entire chamber and captured the chest from every angle. But then suddenly the order came to cut the camera feed. Later, the production team said that some footage could not be aired due to technical reasons. This is where the theory of the secret footage leak started. A few days later, blurry photos and small clips started doing the rounds on the internet. In one of these photos, the same chest-like shape was visible around which dust and moss floating in the water was clearly visible. In another clip, it seemed that one of the divers was placing his hand on the chest. People went out of control on social media. Someone claimed this is the same footage that was not shown in the show. Someone said, "This leak has happened from inside the team." No one wants to hide the truth. Some theories were even wilder. Perhaps the chest contains not just treasure, but an artifact that can change history, and that is why it is being hidden. Some even linked it to ancient sea